Alright tubes, what is going on? Got a Ford Ranger repair video for you guys today. We're going to be working on my 2006 Ford Ranger here, and this of course has the 4.0 single overhead cam engine in it. And the project for today is we're going to be replacing, or at least showing you guys how to replace the alternator. As you can see here, I actually got a new one in here already. We replaced it at engine night at 805 Road King's house just a few days ago. But we were in a hurry, it was getting dark, so we didn't have a chance to make a video, so I'm going to go ahead and try and recreate the process for you guys now. This process should be applicable to multiple Ford vehicles, not just the Ranger. Anything with a 4.0 engine this should work for. So that would be your Ford Ranger with the 4.0, Mazda B4000, Mercury Mountaineer. This one has a 5.0, but if it had the 4.0 it would be applicable to that. Ford Explorer with the 4.0 single overhead cam. As well as some Mustangs, I believe, had this engine in it. So this should be a video with some pretty wide applications. So just because you don't have a Ranger doesn't mean this video won't help you. So let's get started. Tools required for this job are pretty minimal, as you can see here. I've got two ratchets out here. You could actually get away with just a 3/8 drive if that's all you had. But I've got my 3/8 drive ratchet as well as my 1/4 inch ratchet. I do have a 6-inch extension for the 3/8 drive. That's pretty important. And then socket wise, we just have a good old standard 13mm regular socket, not deep socket. We got a 5/16 deep socket, 10mm deep socket, 8mm deep socket, and a 7mm deep socket. I've also got a pair of needle nose pliers here. These may or may not be necessary. And if you have one, it's good to have an electrical meter just to check and make sure your new alternator is working. It's not required, but it's a good idea. I have had experiences where I bought a brand new alternator and it's actually not worked, and I've had to take it back. So it is helpful to be able to check it rather than just assuming it's good, driving down the road, and then breaking down again. Now, the very first thing we're going to want to do for this job is we want to take our 8mm wrench and we want to loosen up our positive battery terminal. We want to loosen this up and take that off and make sure that you hook it on something. I got it hooked on this brake line, but whatever you do, make sure that it's not going to accidentally swing back and try and touch the positive battery terminal again. This is a very important step. Later when we disconnect power from the alternator, you don't want to have the chance to shorten anything out. We'll start by removing this decorative cover here off the top of the engine. It's just held on by 4 7mm sheet metal screws going into plastic. Once that cover's out of the way, we'll switch to a 5/16 inch socket here. I've got a deep socket on here, but you can get away with a regular here. Or if you have a nut driver, that'll work as well. But either way, what we want to do here is we just want to loosen up this clamp here. And once it's loose, we should be able to just spin this a little bit and pull it off. Now, if we come to the other side of the hose here, we got a number of different things that are holding this up here. The first thing is this little electrical connector. This is for your mass airflow sensor. So there's a little tab on the bottom of it. We'll carefully push the tab down and we can remove that connector. There's no need to remove the wire from the actual hose here. We'll leave it connected and just swing them both out of the way together. Now, we've also got this breather hose attached here, and this is a plastic hose. It's, depending on its age, could be relatively brittle, so you want to be careful with this. But the way that it's removed is pretty straightforward. There's this little green ring that's kind of spring-loaded, and that's what actually keeps the tab hooked and keeps the hose from coming out. So the way that you remove the hose is all you have to do is you have to push up on this tab and then pretty much just pull the hose out of the way. And as you can see, it came off pretty easy there. Sometimes they're a little tricky and you got to wiggle and jiggle things around. But again, you just want to be really careful with these because they can be brittle and they can end up breaking on you, and then you got yourself another project. Once that's done, we can get our 5/16 inch wrench here and loosen up the other clamp. And once that's loose, we should be able to take this, spin it off, and then as you can see here, we are still connected to this line here, but there's no need to remove it. We could just take this whole thing and swing it out of the way like so. Now, as you can see here, with that hose out of the way, we have a much better view of the alternator here. We can get into our belts nice and easy, our electrical connections are easy to access, and we can get our wrenches in with no problem and just pull the alternator straight out. The next step will be to remove all the electrical connections to the alternator. On these particular trucks, there's 3 of them. There's this big connector here, there's this smaller connector behind it, and then lastly, there's a large wire attached with a nut down at the bottom here. We'll do the nut first. I'm just using a 10mm deep socket. Make sure you don't drop the nut. And again, make sure that your battery is disconnected before performing this step. Next, we'll get our 2 other connectors out of the way. Both are held on by just little clip tabs, and if you stick a screwdriver in the back and kind of pull the tab out of your way, you should be able to get the plug out pretty easily. On my particular vehicle, the tab is actually broken on this one, so I just had to pull this thing out. But as you can see here, this is where your tab would have been, and what you would have to do is stick a screwdriver in there, pull the tab out, and then the connector will come out. So now we've got all our electrical connections disconnected. The next step here is potentially the most difficult step. What we need to do here is we need to remove the belt from the alternator, and the way this is accomplished is by first removing tension from the belt by putting a wrench on this tensioner, and then we can just slip the belt off. Really, at any point, I usually slip it off of the idler pulley here. But if we take a look at our tensioner here, you can see down there that there's a little square in the end there, and that particular square just happens to be roughly a 3/8 inch square. So what I usually do here is I take a 3/8 inch ratchet, such as this one, and I try and get that engaged in the square, like so. So you can see now I have this ratchet engaged in that little square down there. And now if we pull the ratchet, we have the ratchet set up as if we're loosening, but in terms of the direction that we're pulling is towards the passenger side of the vehicle. But if we pull on this ratchet here, you can see the tension gets released from the belt. Now this is a job best performed with an extra person, but unfortunately I'm by myself here and I'm trying to film. So with you guys up on the tripod here, I'm going to try and get this off on my own. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to pull on this wrench, and depending on your strength level, this can be kind of difficult. Sometimes it's helpful to put a pipe on here, but we don't need that at the Motor for Life ranch here. But all we're going to do is just pull on that, and then we should be able to slip our belt off here, like so. And then we just let the wrench go, and we're done. Now, I think it goes without saying here, but obviously we're working with a belt and a lot of tension here. You want to keep your fingers out of the way as much as possible. It's not a bad idea instead of your fingers to use a screwdriver to push the belt off, but if you are going to use your fingers, try not to get them underneath the belt. That way if the wrench were ever to slip or anything else were to happen, you wouldn't get your fingers caught underneath and potentially chopped off. Now, once your belt's off, the only other thing that should be holding your alternator to the truck is the 3 bolts. They're all 13 millimeters, and you should be able to access all of them with just a single regular 13 millimeter socket and a 6-inch extension here. Since I did this job the other day, they're not really frozen on there yet. But if you do have problems, you can put a breaker bar on there, or if you have it, go up to a 1/2-inch drive. Now with this one, you want to watch out since you are close to this air conditioning line, particularly if this bolt's pretty tight, which it has the potential to be. You want to make sure that your wrench doesn't all of a sudden slip and then break this air conditioning line off. So if you have a universal or whatnot to get yourself out of the way, that is helpful, but not 100% necessary. Pull our last bolt out here, and we can just swing this wire out of the way. Our alternator should come right out. Now at this point in time, really the job is just the exact opposite of what we just did. We'll take our brand new alternator, and again, this is a recreation here, so I'm obviously putting the same alternator back in. But had we taken the old one out, this would be the new one going in. And then we can go ahead, we'll get our bolts started first. I always get the bolts started first. And don't make the mistake I always make, which is forgetting this little piece here. This little keeper for this wire here is actually secured by the alternator bolt here. So make sure you got that on there. Then you can start tightening your bolt down. And once you got all the bolts seem like they're started and everything lined up, then we can come back in with a wrench here and tighten these things up. You want to make these things snug, but there's no reason to go unbelievably tight with these things. Also, I don't use any anti-seize or thread sealer on these particular types of bolts. They're up on top of the engine, and they're not a bolt that would be life-threatening if they were to ever come loose, which is highly unlikely anyway if you make them tight. Now, let's go ahead and get our electrical connectors hooked back up again. We'll hook our top one up first here. That should just snap into place. Got our second little pigtail here. That'll snap into place like so. And then we've got our positive wire here, which is attached with this little nut. So we'll tighten that down with our 10 millimeter wrench. And I recommend that always make sure that you hold on to the actual wire as you're doing this process, because otherwise you have the potential to rotate this whole stud into the alternator, and that can create all kinds of problems. So it's better to avoid that altogether by just holding on to your wire as you tighten it. No need to go ridiculously tight with this. It's only a 10 millimeter stud here. We don't want to go breaking or stripping anything. Next thing we're going to want to do is reattach our belt. Now what I would recommend is, if you're not sure about this, I'll actually post right here a little diagram for you guys so you can see what the belt routing is, because that's the number one thing. If you find yourself having a really tough time getting the belt back on, it's a good chance that you got your routing messed up. And obviously, as you do route these, make sure that they're actually sitting on the actual pulleys. You don't want them sitting on top or one rib not on, because if it's not on, if it doesn't find its way on, it'll find its way off, and then you'll have to do it again. So the way we do this is we get the belt lined up, we get the belt on all the pulleys exactly where they're supposed to be, and then we just kind of leave it sitting on top here of the idler pulley. Now what we go ahead and do, we got a wrench on the tensioner as already shown before, and we'll just pull tension on it and then try and slip the idler like so. And as you can see, it kind of popped right on there. It was a little bit difficult, but then I got it past the point of no return and the tension kind of pulled it into place. Then of course what you want to do is you just want to visually inspect all the pulleys, make sure that the belt's actually sitting where it's supposed to be in all the ribs, and I would say that based upon my inspection here, it looks pretty good. So the last thing we want to do is just make sure we get this wrench off of our tensioner before we try and start it up. Like we got it. Now at this point in time, we're in a position where we can actually start the engine here. We don't have a breather tube hooked up, we don't have a mass airflow sensor up, but the truck will actually run, albeit potentially kind of roughly. It will still run without this breather on. So what I like to do here is we're actually going to hook our battery back up here, and we're actually going to try and start the truck as is. And the reason we're going to do this is, again, as I've mentioned, I have had some experiences where I've bought brand new alternators and they've actually ended up being no good out of the box. So if at all possible, I like to get a test on the alternator as soon as possible. That way if I do end up having to pull it back out, half the job's already done. Now the way we do our test is pretty straightforward. I've got our multimeter here. This happens to be a nice fluke that I stole from 805 Road King. Got to give it back on Monday. And then we'll take our probes, and in this particular case there's actually some holes here where I can actually get the meter just hooked up and I can just leave it sit here. That's not necessary. You know, if you want to get the engine running, then come back and put these on and just look at the meter, you could do that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start the truck up, and then we'll come back and we're going to take a look at what our reading is. Now we come back out to the truck here, you can see we got a reading of 14.3 volts, and that's a good sign. Typically with an alternator, when you first start the engine, first 5, 10, 15 minutes, it'll give you a high charge like this, around 14 volts. And then later on, once the engine's warmed up and the battery's successfully charged, it'll hover more around like 13.5 or so. But this is good. If our alternator wasn't charging, our voltage would be, if not the same, actually lower than what it was when we tested it with the engine off. So, you know, in this particular case, I think it was like 12.17. So you'd probably see a voltage of, you know, probably 11 something, or possibly even lower, depending on what accessories you have on. So our final step here is just our little gingerbread stuff here. We got our breather tube here, so this spins around like so. And what I usually do first is I'll actually get it started on the bottom here and get that kind of lined up roughly where it's going to be. Then we can come around the back and get our little breather tube clicked in here. And sometimes you have to take that little green thing and kind of hold it out of the way while you actually push the tube in. And you'll see once it clicks in, there's a little ring that the tab engages with, and just make sure that that ring is behind the little tab and you should be good to go. Plug our mass airflow sensor in, and then there's actually another little wire holder clip here that you can see there's a little hole down here in the alternator where it goes. So, and then we can get the other side here. This should just spin on pretty easily here. Make sure it goes all the way. The way you know it's all the way is simply by looking at these little stops here. Once the hose is all the way on, it hits against these stops and can't go any further. So as long as it does that, you're good to go. Then we'll get our little 7mm out again and tighten down this little protective cover here, and we should be good to go. Alrighty, well that is going to do it for this job. I hope you guys found it helpful here. I would say total time for the job, depending on your experience levels, probably about a half hour, maybe more, maybe less. But it is, again, it's a pretty easy job, and I hope this video made it even easier for you guys. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps out a lot. And of course, if you're subscribed already, thank you. But if not, please consider subscribing, and leave a comment if you have any questions about this job. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And until then, we will see you guys in the next one. All right, guys. See ya.
Ah, my feet!